What's up everyone, I'm Twisted, and today I'm going to be explaining the voice lines of the brand new League of Legends champion, Zaahen. Now, quick spoiler, there's nothing new here in terms of lore, in fact, quite the opposite. His voice lines actually reference a lot of lore we've known for a while, from the rise of the Ascended to the fall of the Darkin. And of course he also mentions his time with the Kinku and Shin's fate. From his voice lines we can piece together his whole history, and so that's what I'll focus on in this video. We'll be checking out all the important moments of his lore in chronological order. Do keep in mind that while most of these events happened in the distant past, the quotes are obviously being said by Zaahen in the context of the present. I hope that's not too confusing. Yunara also received some new voice lines with actual brand new lore, but I'll cover those at the end.
Few were offered the rights of ascension. Even fewer were truly worthy. Beneath my wings, the Sunborn joined me in immortality. Now, beneath my blade, they must die. God Warrior, rest beneath the sands.
The Ascended, also known as God Warriors or the Sunborn, were the strongest warriors of the Shuriman Empire. They started their lives as normal mortals that were chosen to partake in the Ascension ritual. Here the magic of the sun would be channeled through the sun disk into their bodies. The ones that attended this ritual either died, turned into Sunborn, or something in between. And of course Zaahen was part of these God Warriors. We'll see why they must die in a second.
To fight the void once more. This I will savor. Even the divine carry wounds which cannot heal.
Probably the most known battle the God Warriors ever fought was against the Horrors of the Void. Tired of existing under Shurima's rule, the people of Icathia tried to wield the Void against the Empire. Obviously, that did not work out and the Void destroyed everything in its path. This was a horrible war, even for the Ascended. The horrors they experienced would leave scars in their minds that would never fade away.
My queen's blade has fallen far, to the hands of a mercenary.
For those unaware, Sivir's blade once belonged to an Ascended, their leader in fact, warrior Queen Sataka. She died in the battle against the Void, but her weapon remained. Keep that in mind. As for Sivir, she is the descendant of Azir, but as Zaahen says, she doesn't do much with that legacy. She's a mercenary.
Rise, Hawk Emperor. I pledge no loyalty to an unfit leader.
Speaking of Azir, he was the last emperor of Shurima. During his ascension, Xerath betrayed him and killed him, stealing his place in the ritual. But the power of the ritual was not intended for Xerath, and everything exploded, destroying the whole capital of the empire in the process. And so the empire of Shurima fell, until Azir was resurrected centuries later. How it happened isn't super relevant here. What you need to know is that after returning, he ascended and became ruler once again. Now, why does Zaahen see him as an unfit leader? Maybe because Azir is not exactly benevolent. Hell, he almost destroyed the whole village just because Xerath was born there. Maybe Zaahen sees Azir as a tyrant, not so different from his brothers.
We cannot bar ourselves from the world any longer, scholar. Such nobility turned to butchery.
Going back to the fall of Shurima, the brothers Nasus and Renekton were the ones who dealt with Xerath in the aftermath of his betrayal. They managed to seal him inside a magical sarcophagus, but it was not enough. So together they hurled him inside a special tomb beneath the city. But to lock him inside this tomb, one of them had to remain inside as well. This ended up being Renekton. Following this, Nasus isolated himself, choosing to distance himself from his fellow Ascended. As for Renekton, he was stuck with Xerath for centuries, and the latter slowly managed to drive Renekton insane, twisting his perception of what actually happened. He became a mad god, seeking vengeance against his brother.
Our allegiance must still be proven, God Warrior.
He sees Azir as an unfit leader, Nasus isolated himself, Renekton went mad, and Xerath caused the fall of the Shuriman Empire, so he has reasons not to trust any of them.
Fallen gods mistake their ruin for glory. Such rage, my kin. Such futility.
After the trauma of countless wars, including against the Horrors of the Void, now left without the Emperor to serve, without a purpose, the remaining God Warriors were not really, well, mentally stable at this point.
There is no triumph here. You have surrendered to yourself. We Darkin take much from this world. They take pride in slaughter. They deserve all that comes next.
They started viewing themselves as the rightful inheritors of Runeterra. They taught themselves forbidden sorceries and began conquering the world. The mortals of that time named these tyrants Darkin, which roughly translates as the Fallen. So yes, the term Darkin isn't a species, it's more like an insult.
Those who serve fallen gods forfeit their life.
Not much to say here besides noting that the Darkin had their own armies.
I understand, Twilight. The cruel necessity to keep us sealed.
After centuries of uneasy alliance, the Ascended inevitably turned against one another, and thus began the Great Darkin War. In order to stop said war, the host of the Aspect of Twilight convinced one of the Ascended to use the Chalikar, Sataka's weapon. This weapon had the power to channel the magic of the moon, undoing the sun magic of the Ascended and turning them into mortals again. A couple of them died this way, but after that, the host of the Aspect of Twilight gave mortals the knowledge to seal the Darkin inside their own weapons. And that's what would eventually happen to the remaining Darkin.
Kinku, our pact was sure to break. By my hand or yours.
Zaahen, however, fought against his own kin, in hopes of ending their war and saving the world from their carnage. And yes, he was indeed going around sealing his brothers and sisters into their own weapons. Zaahen's journey led him to Ionia, where some of his brothers waged war. There he made a pact with the Kinku, promising to help them against the Darkin. Here we know that he managed to defeat Varus, Rast, Zolani and Pra. He's saying the pact was broken because he came back.
Your enemies are mine, Yunara.
This is a reference to the Devoted Shrine Maiden comic. There, it's Yunara who said it to the patron spirit of her shrine, who in the story represents Zaahen.
There was warmth in the flames of war, but I chose the cold. I chose the silence. I sealed myself away. Do not give me reason to show you why. The temple bound my darkness, but did not purge it.
When the war ended, Zaahen was allowed to live in peace, but he felt his humanity ebbing away. He feared he might end up like his brothers, so he asked to be sealed inside his glaive. After this, he was hidden in the Temple of Twilight, and cast alongside it to the Spirit Realm.
You stood eternal guard, my friend. Let me match this devotion. Yunara, this war took everything from you. How could I ask you to fight once more?
Yunara was also cast into the Spirit Realm alongside the temple, sacrificing her life to forever stand guard, ensuring that no one would steal Zaahen's powers. Devotion being used here is again another nod to Yunara's legend as the Devoted Shrine Maiden. Also a reminder that that version of the story is not accurate, that is just a legend, a myth. Yunara was devoted, just not a Devoted Shrine Maiden.
None should meddle with the power of gods. I am only evil, deferred.
These lines are both referencing the Twilight's end cinematic. Zaahen says them to Shin to deter him from giving his body away. While the first is a warning to Shin, it should also be for LeBlanc. She's also trying to wield said power. While Zaahen sees himself as a god, Ascended aren't exactly that. They are gods in the sense that they are much more powerful than normal mortals, and that's usually as far as the term god goes in Runeterra. There's some irony here. While Zaahen is saying this to Shin, Shurimans were the ones that meddle with the power of the gods, as they channeled cosmic magic to create the Ascended. The second line shows Zaahen's fear of becoming like his brothers.
I am not yours to wield, demon. You are mine to kill.
And speaking of the cinematic, we can now jump to it and to the present. 15 centuries after Zaahen was imprisoned. This line is both a reference to how Atakhan tried to wield the weapon, but also to the fact that demons feed on negative thoughts and feelings, and the Darkin, Zaahen included, are full of those. Atakhan, for example, fed on carnage and violence, so it's not hard to see why he would be interested in the emotions of a Darkin.
Seneschal, I accept your sacrifice. Do you? Be at peace, Seneschal. You have given all you can.
And as we saw, Shin sacrificed himself so that Zaahen could return, stopping his power from falling into the hands of LeBlanc.
The mortal heart still beats within, steady, unyielding.
While he is speaking literally, as in Shin's heart is indeed still inside him, he is also talking about Shin's character. The man had an unyielding heart.
Seneschal, resolute even in the fields of memory, we rise as one. Memories bleed together now. A kingdom I never knew, and an empire long gone. I take no joy in facing you, Demacian. I will end this swiftly.
And here we see that Zaahen retains some of Shin's memories, as he now knows about Demacia, a kingdom that didn't exist when he was sealed in the glaive. The first line also hints that Shin still fights alongside him, in spirit. I mean, not literally in spirit because, you know. If you're enjoying this video so far, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later.
Your plans will see you slain again and again, deceiver.
Of course, he has a line against LeBlanc. The story of this year wouldn't have happened if she didn't try to steal the glaive. Here he says that she will be slain again and again because she has a lot of clones, or sisters as she calls them. This line is also similar to Yunara's line against LeBlanc.
The glaive obeys me, not the will of war. The lure of madness will not shake me from what must be done. Corruption tears at the edge of my mind, taunting, tempting. The trial never ends. In every instant, every motion, keep the Darkin at bay.
Zaahen is not yet like his brothers, but he fears one day he might. The trauma they have is also his. You might see his lore referencing corruption, but in truth, I think this corruption is just trauma. Trauma for living for so long, from countless wars, from fighting the horrors of the void, from fighting his own brothers. Zaahen is in a constant battle to keep himself sane and not surrender himself to his evil urges like his brothers.
My blood burns for slaughter. My mind urges grace. I could fell thousands with one slash. But to what end? How easy it would be to destroy all of this. It would be empty.
Here are some examples of what I just said. It would be easy for him to destroy everything. A part of him urges him to give in and surrender himself. But he's doing his best to stray from that.
I will see beyond our madness. I will rise above all that has broken our minds. Where others have been undone, I must endure. Broken gods, I bear the burden you could not. My brothers and sisters are adrift. I alone have awakened.
These ones follow the same idea, but here he is obviously comparing himself to his brothers in specific. He's not like them.
Do not mistake my restraint for peace. I am more than hatred's prey. Control, not carnage.
He also has a lot of lines about self-control. These are just some examples.
Divine and profane. Ascended, Darkin, I am the blade between. As god and monster. Run, Shuriman. You face a god and monster of our history.
These lines are referencing how Zaahen sits between Ascended and Darkin, something he literally says in the second line. He is an Ascended, but he is yet to succumb to the Darkin's madness, despite enduring the same tragedies as them. This dichotomy is also present in-game, as his powers have both the gold of the sun and the red of blood.
Steal the mind, temper the flesh, hunt the fallen. I seek the Sunborn, whose veins run with rot. They will suffer, and the world will be safer for it. I spare them from what they've become.
And here we have Zaahen's current goal, and this is the exact same he sought before being sealed, to protect the world from his brothers.
I do not wake an ancient war merely to fight it, but to end it. An age-long war begins again. On which side do you fight?
And here he is obviously talking about the Darkin War. That war started with the Darkin fighting amongst themselves, and with Zaahen being a Darkin hunting other Darkin in the present, in a way you could say this war begins again.
I will return to the light, bloodied if I must. Further still to fall, higher yet to rise. Through noble purpose we regain ourselves. Long is the path that leads us back to light.
Zaahen sees his quest as a noble one. He is fighting for the greater good, and he hopes that this purpose will keep his darkness at bay.
One of infinite lives to give. To slay an immortal is a fleeting victory. I am undying. I am unsundered.
He also has a couple lines about being immortal, referencing how the Darkin can't really die, or at least are very hard to kill, and also a reference to Zaahen in-game, where one of his abilities allows him to revive.
Embracing the ways of a beast, Neferi, then die as one. Howl for the self you lost among the pack.
And now let's check out his interactions with champions, starting with Neferi. Neferi is a Darkin whose host is a pack of hounds. Yes, Neferi is not just one dog, she's all of them. She's a hive mind of dogs. A pack mind, if you will. She believes in power through unity, though obviously in a very twisted way.
Vengeance only takes, Varus. It cannot restore what has been lost. You corrupt your duty, Varus. Vengeance serves no one.
Varus was imprisoned in Ionia, until one unlucky guy tried to save his dying lover by tossing both of their bodies into the pit where Varus was hidden. Varus merged the two lovers and stole their unified body. He is now driven by vengeance against the mortals who imprisoned him.
Mortal and monster, both too deadly to spare. If man and scythe had worked as one, you might have prevailed.
Rust was also imprisoned in Ionia, until he was found by Noxians. Kain defeated said Noxians, taking the scythe for himself. Ever since then, he has been fighting to remain in control, and not lose himself to the Darkin within. The second line here suggests that together, Kain and Rust could be stronger than any of them alone. This is actually not the first voice line suggesting this. For example, Hui also said it. Funny enough, both Zaahen and Hui's voice lines were written by the same writer, Riot Orchidian.
No wrath, no revenge, only death.
Small side tangent, but like I said, Orchidian wrote for both champions. So yes, this line from Zaahen is a reference to this line from Hui. Now back to his interactions.
You make Oblivion your master, Aatrox, and so stand for nothing. God Killer, World Ender, my brother, enough.
Aatrox seeks to end his curse by, well, destroying everything that exists. He believes the only answer is Oblivion. This line is also a callback to one of Aatrox's lines. And in case you didn't know, God Killer and World Ender are Aatrox's titles.
I am Aatrox! I am the World Ender! I am Aatrox! And I am the God Killer! My kin, show me you deserve to stand. Varus, you seem closer to humanity. Heed it, or be hunted. How noble to seek unity, Neferi, if it amounts to more than brutality.
In these lines, we have Zaahen showing some sympathy for his brothers. Yes, obviously these are just what-if scenarios, triggered when Zaahen is in the same team as them in-game, but I like to believe that these show us that he isn't impartial in his quest against the Darkin. If there's good left in them, he might spare them. The most notable case here being Varus, whose hosts are still inside his mind, trying to sway him from his path of vengeance.
Savor this battle, Aatrox. It is your last taste of freedom. Rust! Caught in a clash of wills. But know this, a greater war awaits you.
And well, the same can't be said for Aatrox and Rust. In both of these lines, Zaahen basically says that after the current battle is over, he will still haunt them. Again, this is just a what-if scenario on the Summoner's Rift, but I think it's fitting since Aatrox and Rust seem to be the less likely ones to turn a new leaf. And that was it for Zaahen's voice lines, but Yunara also received some new ones, so let's check them out.
The Darkin once hoarded the spirit blossoms for themselves. Such vile gluttony.
This line tells us that during the war, the Darkin were hoarding Spirit Blossom flowers. I think this might have been teased in the Shrine Maiden comic on this page right here. Now, why are they doing this? We don't know the full extent of the magic of the Spirit Blossom flowers. We just know that they can be used to allow people to commune with the spirits of their deceased loved ones. But I don't really see the Darkin wanting the flowers for that purpose. So I have no idea why they wanted them. With this being said, I do wonder if the flowers started blooming outside of Ionia because the Darkin were hoarding them. That would explain the wild bloom that happened in that time, though why it happened again in the present, we still don't know.
I must seek the aspect of Twilight. She gifted mortals the knowledge to imprison the fallen ones, who now walk this world once more.
It seems that much like Zaahen, Yunara will seek to hunt the remaining Darkin, and to do this, she says she needs to find the aspect of Twilight, because that's who gave mortals the knowledge to seal the Darkin. But in the past, Zaahen brought that knowledge with him to Ionia, so why does Yunara need to find the aspect? Did Zaahen forget, or are they simply not working together anymore? Or is there something about the process of sealing the Darkin that was lost to time? I guess we'll have to wait until the next time Riot remembers these champions exist to find out. Thank you so much for watching until the end, let me know down below if I missed anything, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It's free and you can always change your mind later. I'm Twisted and I'll see you guys in the next video.